We've seen a rise in terms of the number of women in leadership roles, but not necessarily as the CEO of a company. What more has to be done?
Well, a lot more has to be done. I mean, one thing we saw a few weeks ago when the Fortune 500 came out was that the number of women running Fortune 500 companies declined by 25%. So it was a big deal. A lot of that was because some women resigned for various reasons. But at the very, very top, these are the biggest companies in the world. We still don't have nearly enough women in those positions. We are seeing more women in other leadership positions. We're seeing a lot of women in the COO role in particular. That's wonderful because that's the second highest position. But oftentimes they're playing COO to a male CEO who is the founder, who isn't necessarily going to leave. And so it's not necessarily a trajectory to the top at that company. The real question is, will it be to other companies? And that's something we're waiting to see. I mean, certainly it's a great sign that there are so many strong female number twos, in particular in the tech industry. But we have to wait to see, is it going to become a pipeline to the CEO spot, or is it going to become sort of a glass ceiling of its own?
It's a really great point, and I think that's something that all of us wonder is, what is it going to take for more and more women to assume that position as CEO? Is it something we're going to have to wait another 25 years? What is your sense as far as how long that's going to take?
I don't think it's 25 years. I think that there's an incredible awareness right now that there needs to be more female leaders. I mean, there was even before the Me Too movement, and now there's just an overwhelming, I mean, you're seeing actually female CEOs be named left and right just in the past few months, because I think there's this rush to sort of want to correct the problem. And that does correct it, because when you have a woman at the top, I mean, you have more women at all levels. I mean, it really starts at the top. And the way to get more women into leadership is to hire more women as leaders. And then it just sort of trickles down from there. And a lot of women say that, I mean, a lot of people say that when there is a woman at the top, and in particular when there's 50-50 women leadership, women and men, the issues around sort of sexism in the workplace, one CEO said they just melt away when it's even Steven like that, because it's not like it's all male dominant. And that's true of other underrepresented groups as well. I mean, you want to have as many different viewpoints and perspectives at the table as possible.
I think we're also seeing something really interesting that's taking place right now as far as more recognition for women who are leading the way. And even in the past few years, we've seen events, we've seen publications and media outlets really highlight these women who are assuming those roles. Can you talk about the summit that you're involved in?
Sure. So I am a co-chair of the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit, which is a gathering of the kind of top women leaders in business, government, the arts, and kind of beyond. And it really is a gathering for the top women leaders. And what's interesting about this summit, we've been doing it for 20 years. And in the first year, it was 10 women around a table. There just weren't that many women. And it has grown and grown and grown. And also, we've seen a change in just the kind of women CEOs. I mean, back when we started, the women who were CEOs of big companies back then were CEOs of maybe beauty companies or media companies, advertising, consumer products. Now, women are running IBM, Pepsi, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics. I mean, it's just a sea change. But now we need the sea change to just continue, and we need more. We need more women CEOs.
What do you think are some of those key characteristics that you see in some of those women who are really moving the dial?
Gosh, they are all different. I mean, every person is different, but they are very driven. Women lead differently, and there is data to support this. Women lead with more empathy. Women tend to be more consensus builders, have better EQ, certainly are better multitaskers, and there is data to support that. All of those things serve women in the CEO role incredibly well. And so, but the women at this summit, at our summit, and the women CEOs of these big companies, I mean, they're just, they're intimidating because they are so successful, but they're, they know what they want. I mean, when I was writing this article about women COOs, every person I interviewed, they came to the table with, their talking points. They were on time. No one was late. I mean, they just, I would come and meet them in person, and if I needed a charger, one was right there. I mean, everything was taken care of. And I don't know that that's the case with men, even male CEOs.
Absolutely. And I think we're seeing that shift happening right now, and it's happening perhaps, like you said, a little bit more quickly than some of us anticipated. Are you confident that for the next generation of female leaders, those young girls today who are growing up, that they will be able to get into a workforce where it will finally feel as though things are equal?
I hope so. I really believe in if you see it, you can be it. And I think if women see women CEOs, especially in the tech world and especially in, in Fortune 500 companies, they'll think nothing of it. One of the things we see is a lot of the women at our Most Powerful Women Summit, their children, they think it's no big deal. They think everybody's mom is a CEO or a big senior executive at a big company or an entrepreneur, whatever the women are who come. They don't think anything of it. And I think there's a lot to be learned from that. But I do think it's a mistake to think that we have come a long way, because we really, if you look at the unicorn companies in Silicon Valley, the biggest ones are almost all men. And I think that one of the reasons why there was a lot of hype around Theranos, it was the first female-founded company that reached a market value of more than $10 billion. And there was just such a thirst to have a woman who was doing that, and we haven't seen it since. And that's what we have to really pay attention to, because that will tell us that we've really, really come a long way.